Okay, how's
Okay, how's
everybody doing?
everybody doing? Okay.
Okay, how's
Okay, how's,
everybody
how's
doing?
everybody doing? Shut that thing off. Hopefully everybody can hear me now. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, yeah, I'm getting some thumbs up. Anybody else? You got 9 watching, so somebody should be talking. Anybody? Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. I've learned from previous experiences with these things. You don't start messing with it till you know you're online and broadcasting. Because a lot of times you're just doing stuff, and the next thing you know, somebody, you don't even know if anybody's hearing you or not. I don't even know where I'm at right now. Let me see if I can even figure out where I'm at. So originally, these live streams were done by Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts are really easy to do. You just jumped online and basically got on into Hangouts, and I got to make sure I don't lose where I'm at here. And there I am. And I don't want to make sure I lose where my chats are at. So it was very easy to do it in Google Hangout. Super, super simple. Google just made a really easy way for you to do this, and there was never a problem. Well, now they changed it where you have to have a third-party software. I'm using Ecamm. It isn't very hard to learn, but it's difficult enough to learn that you got to spend a little time, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So today is like my first day of using this, so I'm making a lot of mistakes. But anyway, hopefully I'm online. I see a few people talking to me, and I'll be able to interact with everybody more often. This way, easier this way, through the internet, through the live chat, versus me just standing with a selfie stick in the middle of downtown Carlsbad and just telling you how much I love EOS. So let me see if I can read some of these chats, because this is where I really want to talk to. Sounds good now, buddy. Veni, whatever that is. I don't know. The only other language I speak is a little bit of Spanish. I don't speak very many other languages. Ghost Dance Class, hello. Ghost Dance Class, hello, hello. Loud and Clear, Sonata Systems, Mastermind Go EOS, Puna Beach, Beach Boy, great. You're loud and clear, good, Finny show. So great. We got a few people listening. As long as I get one other person to talk to, I can keep this going for a while. And the main reason I want to do these is because I want to talk to people. I want to interact with people and find out what everybody's thinking. Because we are so early in the game. We're so early in the game with EOS. We're so early in the game with a blockchain. We are very early stages. As much as people like to think that it's going to die or it's going to be $100 very soon, neither one is very likely to happen very soon. It's more likely than not it's going to be like it is, like everything else is. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I can guarantee you one thing: I've seen enough of this stuff come and go. That EOS, the blockchain, is here to stay. It's going to be very, very prosperous, and hopefully, it will. It won't lose too many people before we get there, because I know it's really easy to get lost with this stuff. I get lost. Kind of sometimes start thinking that I want to do something different, or I got some other thing that takes over my interest. But it always comes back to this. It's kind of interesting. I was thinking about this. I'm not really a great techie guy, because I kind of grew up post the tech industry or tech age. I was born in 1960. So by the time I went to college, computers were just big mainframes. We didn't have the PC, much of the PC. They were just starting to come out. I wasn't a programmer because we didn't even have programming languages. They had COBOL and Fortran. And I wasn't a very good mathematician. I was struggling with, the basic math classes, let alone the advanced math classes. So I wasn't really very good at math. I wasn't very good with programming. And I wasn't very good with any of this stuff. But I kept hanging around tech. I just loved tech. I mean, I was like the guy that knew that all the football players had the girls. So I used to hang around with the football players and you get the girls. That's kind of the way I've been with tech. It's like hang around tech, maybe something good will happen. But I've never been a super technical person. But I've always loved it, and I've always followed it, and I've always been very, very involved with it. And I see the blockchain as probably the biggest thing I've ever been involved with as far as tech is concerned. And I was, like I said, been around since I was born in 1960. I went all the way through the tech boom with the tech stocks. I loved the tech stocks, made a lot of money during those tech days. In fact, there are people that when I was, you know, 35, 36 years old and home all day long, they would say, "What do you do for a living?" And I was trading stocks. And, it was a pretty good time for me to play the tech stocks. Well, they all ended, and of course, we all know how it turned out. It turned into a bubble, and it all went away. But this is the next round. I don't know. I don't see a bubble for a long time, but this is the next round of being able to do what I did during the tech days, which is be involved with tech and just enjoy it and make some money at it and see some tremendous things happening. And that's what this is. That's what's going on right now. We're just seeing a lot of things going on. Let me see if I can read some of these. Incoming lockup. Oh, we're going to talk about the lockup. You want to talk about the everything going on with the not the RAM. What's going on as far as the congestion in the network with people not having enough resources to run the chain. Well, we could talk about that. If you want to talk about that, I'll talk about that. They say late this week. Who knows? Big platform take 5-year hit. Full Stride was hoping Bytemaster could do it in 3, but it's feeling more like 5 at least. They have the brains and the dollars. Agree. Okay. I read an article today. Let me see if I can find it today. See if I can go here. Microsoft blockchain. They're talking about this blockchain Azure. And of course, we've heard a lot about, of course, Facebook and their blockchain too. In my opinion, this is the blockchain that's not going to be anything for the future, because Microsoft and Facebook are already corporate public companies with thousands of shareholders and an incredible number of what you would say obligations and constraints on them because of their public. You just saw what happened with Elon Musk. Elon Musk goes on Joe Rogan's show, smokes a little dope, and the SEC's ready to send him to prison. Well, they just can't go out and do what they want to do. For a blockchain to be something that the blockchain is meant to be, it has to be independent of all this entanglement and third-party arrangements and all the shareholders and all this stuff. And it's not going to be run by Microsoft, and it's not going to be run by Facebook. It's going to be run by somebody like EOS, because EOS has the independence to do something like a blockchain. And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about independence, getting away from the third party. It is not going to be done by Microsoft, and it's not going to be done by Facebook. So when I pretty much read one day here, not too long ago, that somebody said that the Microsoft blockchain is going to take us over, and there will be no EOS. It will all be done by this blockchain. No, not so. These people are just telling you the technology is happening, and the technology is going to take off, but they're not going to be the ones that are going to be doing it. They're going to be using it, but they're not going to be doing it. It's going to be done by other blockchains, and I believe that EOS is going to be the major blockchain in the near future. And the reason I have just one main reason for believing that, because EOS went to the Security and Exchange Commission. They were able to negotiate a deal. I think they paid $25 million, $26 million. That tells me they've got the favoritism of the Security and Exchange Commission. The brightest, biggest smile I've ever seen on, what's the guy's, Mnuchin's face, the guy that's Secretary of the Treasury, when he gets to talk about blockchain. He doesn't want to talk about quantitative easing. He wants to talk about blockchain. So the day that they had a press release and our press where he had the press in, and he was able to talk about blockchain, he got all excited. They love the blockchain. Don't kid yourself. The government loves the blockchain. For whatever reasons, they think that they can, be able to track funds illegal that are used for drugs or for terrorism or whatever. For whatever reason, they love the blockchain. So they're going to endorse the blockchain. The blockchain will be very much part of the government's plan in the future. It's not going to be done by Microsoft, and it's not going to be done by Facebook, but they will be using the blockchain, as well as the U.S. government and governments around the world, including China. So get excited about this because this is a very good time. Kent is live. Hey, thanks a lot. BC Matrix. Add to broadcast. Very good. Good riddance 2019. Let's have more adoption in 20. I agree, man. Good riddance for 2019. I'm tired of it. I'm really getting burned out on 2019. I've had enough of it. Mastic just dumped hard. Not sure why. Agree. Yeah, what is the price? Let's take a look at the price, man. I look at the price almost every day, but you know what? It hasn't changed much in about 3 weeks. I don't know why I look at it every day. Of course, EOS is just not really doing much. Even the challenge application isn't really doing much. Everything's just kind of stagnant, although we are starting to pick up a little bit of volume. I think a couple days yesterday, we had almost $1,000 worth of volume, which is very unusual. We got a market cap at about 96,000, which is very, very minimal. I mean, we've been up into the millions on our market cap, so 96,000 is very, very low for us. And of course, they're not really keeping up with the volume. And who knows what the volume is? It's hard to track on stuff like this. It's hard to track on stuff like CoinGecko or even what's the one that's I'm thinking about that everybody uses? Where it's right down here. Nudex. It's very hard to do all that on Nudex. Okay, so let's read some questions. What does the future hold for the Fed? What does the future? Okay, that's a good question, BC Matrix. This is something that the gig has been up for a long, long, long time on the Federal Reserve System. Federal Reserve System is nothing but a quantitative easing printing press machine. Everybody knows it. You don't have to watch 5 minutes worth of YouTube videos to figure it out. It's paper money, has no backing, it has no future, it's not digital, it's not computerized, it's hard to move around, it has a lot of flaws. When you look at a dollar bill, you don't know where it's been. It could be used for drug trafficking, it could be used for terrorism, it could use, they don't like it, okay? It's out, it's gone, it's going to be finished. There's a new digital form of money coming, and it's going to be, and what the real issue is here, and this is the very basic of the basic, is the removal of the third party in the equation. And I'll give you a quick analogy here. And why people are broke, why people are poor in this world, is because of the third party involvement. The bank involvement, insurance company involvement, you name it. The third party involvement has impoverished people. And I'll give you an example, like with an insurance company. Insurance companies are very mathematically ran. In fact, when I was going to college, one of the things that one of my friends was learning was actuarial science. I had no idea what actuarial science was. What he was training to be is an insurance agent or insurance work within the insurance business to do risk as far as what their risks were, which is just all mathematical formulas and so on and so forth. But insurance companies are third parties that they take your premium, they take the other guy's premium, and they hold those premiums. And then when there's a loss, they do everything possible to not pay back the premium or the amount of premium that they were given, or try to pay back everything that has been lost. I mean, loss is really what the definition of a loss is. If you've lost something, you should be made whole. So if your car gets totaled, your car needs to be made whole. You need to be put back in the position you were before your car got busted up. Well, insurance companies do everything they can to try to keep as much as the money they can. And the reason they do that is because they have a profit motive. They have shareholders. They have executives. They have people that make huge amounts of money that are running the company. So their goal is not to make you whole. Their goal is to make money for the insurance company. So the third-party insurance company doesn't work very well, because the goal of the third-party insurance company is to take as much away from the process as they can and not add to the process. The process being a risk management. So if you have a loss, that you get put back to the position you were before you had a loss. Their objective is to whittle you down and give you as little as possible. That is why a guy like Warren Buffett has made so much money. Warren Buffett has made money because he has taken those premiums that you paid him in case you have a loss or somebody else has a loss, and he's used those to invest for his own purposes and make himself one of the richest men on the face of the earth. That is what we're fighting, and that's why the blockchain is so exciting, because the blockchain will hopefully remove those third-party people that are taking from the system and not adding to it. Instead of giving all back, instead of having contracts made up so that whatever gets paid in to premium gets paid back when losses are. That's the way it should be. There should be something like that, some sort of way to hold that money in a place, unlike Berkshire Hathaway or Geico Insurance, where when there is a loss, they lobby the laws. They hire priced attorneys. They do everything they can possibly do to make sure you don't get back as much money as you paid in. So they have a huge profit and they have huge business. This is corporate. This is what corporate is about. Corporate is trying to keep the money back and hold as much money as they can. This is what we're hoping to defeat with the blockchain. This is the world that we're trying to change, trying to make the world more fair for people. So making smart contracts so that money doesn't all go to the third party that takes away. Banks are the same way. Banks hold money. Banks print money. Banks do all these things that impoverish people, and not only people, that in wealthy countries, but people that are not in wealthy countries. And that's what the blockchain is, a peer-to-peer way to be able to have funds, like I just said, with insurance companies or funds through banks, be able to transact, transfer, and do all this without there being somebody with an objective or somebody with a profit motive involved. That's what the blockchain is about. That's why this is so exciting. So that's when you ask me about the Fed, that's what I'm thinking about as a third party. You want to get rid of the Fed. You want to get rid of the third party. However, the Fed does keep organization. Not everything about the Fed is negative. You've got to have some structure within our financial system. I mean, these people that just say, "Oh, get rid of the Fed. The Fed's no good." Blah blah blah. The system would collapse without the Federal Reserve System. It's what we put in place. It's like our legal system. Our legal system isn't the greatest in the world either. But without it, you'd have complete chaos. So yeah, we're dealing with a system in play right now that's not very good. It can be made much better, but it's all we got. So you have to use what it is you have. And right now, Federal Reserve System is what we have. So people that just continually bash the Federal Reserve System haven't come up with solutions. They just know the one we have right now isn't a very good one. A guy like Dan Larimer, who's designing blockchains to create digital currencies, is coming up with solutions. That's why he's the guy he is, and that's why EOS is so exciting. That's why, like I say, to me, I'm seeing something that I've never seen before. I'm seeing something great happen, just like I saw something great happen when all these tech stocks came out in the early 2000s, late 1990s, and I was running around being a broker and investing in stocks, tech stocks, and making $5, $6, $7, $8, $10, $15, $20,000 a day, and of which I ended up mainly putting most of the money back. So if you think I made a lot of money in those days, I certainly did, but I didn't keep it. That's the point I'm trying to make. Just like everybody does. I mean, they always tell you, if you make a lot of money, you will spend a lot of money, and a lot of times you'll end up drinking your own Kool-Aid, which is what you end up doing. You end up buying it. I remember buying when the market was going down and I was losing money hand over fist, buying back margins, or not buying back margins, but buying back options to buy it back at the lower price, or saying it's not going to go any lower, so I'll buy margins here, buy calls or puts. I can't remember how I was doing it, but I was actually leveraging the market as it was going down, thinking it was going to come back. So you always end up drinking your own Kool-Aid. So, I love this guy. Kent the Man, a vacation in Encinitas, but from SC, South Carolina, probably love it there. Encinitas is a beautiful place. If you come to Encinitas, you will see, this is the thing, if you're familiar with our area, you got Carlsbad, well, actually you got Oceanside. Beautiful place, Oceanside. That's next to Camp Pendleton. Beautiful beaches, you got the pier, nice downtown. You come to Carlsbad, and it's a little bit nicer in Carlsbad. And then we have a really nice, about mile-long beach that's just beautiful. It's really, really nice. Then as you go down the coast a little bit further, there starts to be more cliffs. So you don't have the beach, you have more cliffs. Like in Encinitas, you have more cliffs. I mean, even though you have beach, there's more like there's a jagged edge. You get to the edge and then you just go straight down and there's the beach. So I really do like Carlsbad. I like Encinitas. I think the best beaches are in Carlsbad and Oceanside. You get down around Pacific Beach. There's some nice beaches and stuff, but I don't really go down there much. It's more of a younger crowd. I'm kind of up here in communities with I wouldn't say older people, but more people that are have been here longer, and of course more we'll just say families and down in Pacific Beach. I think a lot of people are there for SDSU, and living along the beach and stuff like that. It's down there close to the water park too, SeaWorld too. So, okay, so we got some other stuff. Lived in Vista. Okay, I love Vista. I've been to Vista a lot. In fact, I was in Vista the other night. Was stationed at Pendleton. Love people from Pendleton. We see a lot of people from Pendleton. A lot of people that come into Oceanside and Carlsbad are from Pendleton. Always very respectful. The Marine Corps people that I've always dealt with, business-wise and just meeting personally, always very nice. They always seem to be on their best behavior. I don't know if their command or their position in the military requires them to be in such good behavior, but they're usually very well behaved. I always love to see people from Pendleton. You go, Kent, you're real among unrealism. Okay. Wonderful CPU. Tron bought Steemit. Ooh, Tron bought Steemit. I didn't know that. I wanted to cover Steemit tonight. Okay, let's go to Steemit because I've been having a good time on Steemit. Let's make sure I can share my screen here. Go to Steemit. Okay, if you haven't been to Steemit, you need to check Steemit out. This is a Dan Larimer project. This is what most people that are from EOS started out with is Steemit. Steemit is a social media platform. And I was on Steemit for a long time. In fact, I used to post videos on YouTube. I got to read the rest of these. Coronado. Oh, I was just watching Navy SEALs, the train on Coronado. I was watching. Yeah, I go to Coronado all the time. In fact, my wife's sister used to live on Coronado. That didn't really happen. That is the rumor. Oh, maybe Tron didn't buy Steemit. Okay. It isn't. Yeah, I hadn't heard anything. I'd ask my son about it because he's a big Steemit guy. He's a huge Steemit guy. But anyway, here's my account on Steemit. I'll go to my blog. There I am. I had to rejoin because I got away from Steemit for a while, so I got 16 followers, 1 post, 3 following. So I was on it, but Steemit is, and Steemit is the reason why EOS will succeed. Because this has been around for quite some time. I can't remember the exact year Steemit was actually when they actually launched it, but it's one of the biggest websites in the world. It functions very well. If you're into community building, this is an incredible place to community build, and it's doing fine. And so if you have any questions about the minds that developed EOS, just look at Steemit, because this is going along well. A lot of people don't talk about it because it kind of gets lost in the weeds, but this is a great website, gets huge followings, gets followers around the world. If you would just search the challenge, CHALL, let me do the other L, LENGE, DAPP, you will see tons of articles written about challenge from people all over the world. And here I think we found out, I had a video the other night, we talked about a girls' school in Africa that was being funded by the challenge application, by hopefully people making challenges and raising some money for girls to go to school. My friend City Mills was on here that has been making our articles. So yeah, this is, I was probably going to go through some of these articles and talk about them. Here's how the Steemit trending page would look like without big. So yeah, Steemit is a great place to be. I love Steemit, and if you're like just trying to figure stuff out with blockchain, Steemit's a good place to get involved. I think it's you have to pay just a little bit of money to make an account. The reason they do that is because they keep the bots off. I think it's like $5 worth of Ethereum to make an account. But yeah, get on Steemit. if you have not on Steam, get on it as soon as possible because it's a great place to be. So what else? One thing I could say is Tron knows how to catch your attention. Wish B1 would do some of that. Okay. Stay at the Lure in Del Mar a decade ago. I love Del Mar. I love Del Mar too. We used to live very close to Del Mar. Del Mar is very expensive. They got great restaurants. But my hangout is Carlsbad, man. My sons went to Carlsbad High School. They both wrestled for Carlsbad High School. I've lived in Carlsbad for probably close to 15 years now. Before that, we lived in Oceanside, and we're Carlsbad Seabads. I've been to so many Carlsbad football games and so many Carlsbad wrestling tournaments, and it's kind of like our hometown community. We know a lot of people here in Carlsbad, so yeah, I'm a big Carlsbad person, probably, and I'm glad, very proud to be a Carlsbad resident. I love Carlsbad. Hopefully this will be it for me. I don't plan on moving anytime soon, unless I absolutely have to. But I'm not going to go to Puerto Rico. I can tell you that. I ain't going to Puerto Rico. They could. I mean, I know that they're getting a lot of crypto laws in Puerto Rico. Good crypto laws. I think my good friend. Who's down there? The other guy that does a lot of the videos, Colin, I think, moved to Puerto Rico. And so good for Colin. And I think there's a few other people down there right now. There's a bunch of people moved to Puerto Rico because they've got some favorable, but not me. I'm staying in Southern California. So, okay, let me read some of this. Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? Of course, my name is Kent, and the challenge is EOS San Diego. You're awesome, Kent. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Is the Carlsbad motocross track still open? I don't know. Boy, I'd love to know because I love motocross. Why isn't my account on Challenge and Fun on EOS blockchain? It doesn't show up in any block explorers. Okay, let me read that one more time. Why is my account on Challenge and Fun on EOS blockchain? It doesn't show up in any of the explorers. So let's just do something here. Let's go to EOS Flare. So EOS Flare is an explorer. If you go to Challenge U, CHALENGE, this is the main account running the challenge application. So, and you can see the transactions in the date today. This is how many transactions we've had today. So what you're saying is that if you type in, like if you have a name, mine's EOS San Diego, so I use the same one for the challenge that I do for EOS. And if you type it into a block explorer, it's not going to show up. The reason for that is because your challenge account for EOS is on a side account. It's on a side chain. It's not on the main chain. And the reason for that is that's why we're not running into CPU problems like everybody else. Because we're paying your RAM and your CPU off of our main account. And so if you type in the account that you made on the challenge application on a regular block explorer, it's not going to show up because because we are paying the resources for you to be there. Now that doesn't mean that we own the account. It just means that we're paying for the resources for you to play challenge. But whatever cryptocurrency that you acquire, whatever cryptocurrency you have, challenge or whatever like that, you can import or take it out of your account as long as you have logged in and you're in the right place, or put it in. But it's just not running on the main net. So that's the only difference. It's not running on the main net. But you still own it, but we're paying for the CPU and the RAM because we're running it on a sub account, which is why we're not running into CPU problems, because a lot of people that have small amounts of EOS aren't able to play the applications because of the congestions like people were talking about a little bit ago. So that's what's going on. Authority Block Explorer, pretty good. Kent is old school EOS Flare. Oh, yeah, it probably is. I don't know how. Give me the new Block Explorer. What's everybody using for the EOS? Is it EOS Blocks? Tell me what everybody uses. I want to know. EOS Blocks is a good one. Maybe another one. I've used them all. EOS Explorer, EOS Blocks. I used to use EOS Authority. I like EOS Authority. The only thing about EOS Authority is when I go to EOS Authority, they just have so much stuff. It's like I get lost on EOS Authority. Blocks, I like blocks. Hey, can't you help me keep the faith? You know what? Thanks for that. I appreciate that. One of the reasons why I even do blockchain, or even get out and talk to people about blockchain, is because I know it's going to have good days and it's going to have bad days, and there's going to be times where people are going to feel like they got the world by the tail, and there's going to be feel like days that they wish they'd never heard of blockchain. And I knew 2 years, 3 years ago, and believe me, I'm not always. My biggest problem with my decisions is I'm not somebody that has a lot of patience. I make quick decisions, and sometimes my decisions that I make, I don't stay with them long enough. I just make it. I say, well, it's a good idea, and then I leave it. But when I've made up my mind that something was a good idea, every time I've done that, it's been a huge success. The only problem I've had is I didn't stay with it long enough. I've been in and out. I will tell you this, as much as I have in faith and belief that this is going to be something that changes the world, I absolutely believe it. And so if I can get on here and talk about it and keep people encouraged and let them know that there's going to be good days, bad days, but all in all, this is all going to turn out very well, regardless of CPU, regardless of RAM, regardless of somebody else coming up with the new blockchain, or some hiccup, or somebody saying that something isn't going to happen quite the way it is, or voice not being released quite when we thought it was going to be released, or Dan Larimer's running off for another project. All that stuff, to the side, the blockchain idea, the peer-to-peer digital third-party smart contract blockchain is here to stay, and it's going to be very, very profitable and very productive, and hopefully changes the world, and for the good, because I'm tired of the third-party systems taking all of us to the cleaners. And I've been taken to the cleaners by the third-party systems, the banks, the insurance companies. Everybody else has. Everybody's got their story. The court systems. Every time we turn around in this world, we're getting a good jab, and maybe the blockchain will help not give us so many jabs in life. I mean, I told my wife the other day, I said, to be a young guy growing up in this world, you have a lot of challenges, and no pun intended with the challenge application. You have to be able to figure out how to make a living for yourself, and if you're going to have a family, make a living for your wife and your kids and everybody else. Do it in a de-industrialized world. You can't go get yourself a factory job, or you can't just go out and do some menial labor. When I was, maybe before my time, people could, men. My grandfather, for instance, made a living working at a factory. He didn't have a fancy life, but he made a living. He was he had a house, he had a family, had 5 daughters. My mother being one of the 5 daughters, a respected man. In fact, I was showing one of my sons the other day a picture of him when I was younger with him. Every place he went, he wore a suit and tie. Guy wore a suit and tie, but he worked at a factory. Worked with his hands. He knew how to weld. He knew how to weld and use a cutting torch. He knew how to change motors. Knew how to do all this stuff. He knew all this stuff, but he was just an ordinary, everyday guy. You can't do that anymore. You want to work. You want to work at a factory. You're probably going to get outsourced. You want to go out here and work on some simple task, mow yards or trim trees. You got a lot. You've got a tough life. I mean, you're going to have to work your butt off to keep up with the competition, and you're just not going to have as easy, in my opinion, as you did back then. Back then, men were respected for just working at a job. You didn't have to do something superstar. If you just had a job, you were a respected man. You didn't have to go out and make $100,000 a year. Today, guys got to make $100,000 a year to make a family work and bills be paid and everything like that. So young people today have a huge challenge ahead of them, and this is one of the things I hope blockchain does, is gives people more of an opportunity to compete, and also people in other parts of the world to compete. It's been tough for people to make a living in a lot of parts of the world. I was watching this thing the other day about some people in Mexico. I mean, there are people in Mexico who literally cannot make a living. they have a hard time feeding themselves. I mean, I've had tough times, but I've never had a hard time feeding myself. But there are people around the world that have a hard time even making enough money to feed themselves. That's just not right. And I think a lot of that has to do with third parties, banks, insurance companies, all these different ways that money gets siphoned off. And this is what I hope the blockchain changes. So, yeah, if I can be a cheerleader for the blockchain, a cheerleader for those people that feel like sometimes this isn't going to work out, yeah, man, I'm going to be there for you. I'll back it every day because I ain't going away. Hopefully, we just continue to grow. We're in for the long haul. We pretty much committed ourselves to the challenge application, and we've seen a lot of things. Even in this tough time, challenge application is, it's taken a beating just like all these other cryptocurrencies. But we continue to develop. We continue to build. We continue to make it better. In fact, I think if you look at the challenge application now, we're adding some stuff. We actually added some stuff today. So yeah, we're going to continue to do it and continue to grow our users. And here, let's talk about explorers. Let's look at DApp Radar. DAPP. I like to go here because this gives you some idea what the apps are doing. And this is what this is about. Blockchain is the infrastructure. The applications are what's happening. So let's look and see where we're at here. And you can see with the CPU problem, these have all fallen down. But I think we were 50 yesterday. We're going to be, a little over 50 today. And we're just winding up, man. We haven't even gotten this thing completely finished. I don't like, one of the reasons why we took a little bit of a break from the videos is because we are still adding a lot of features to the challenge application. And we're getting more and more people to talk about it. It's kind of like, it's like a car when you're working on it. You really don't want someone to see it until you got it all finished. If you're still painting, we're 77 today. We've had 3 users, we're off 50% today. Yesterday, I think we were like 59. So yeah, we go up and down, but we're in the top 100. But we haven't gotten the thing completely done. It's like, it's like if you're redoing your car and you got the seats are still out, the steering wheel isn't in, and stuff like that. Not that it can't be used, it can be used, but there's so many things that we need to make better. In fact, one of the things we're adding, and hopefully we get it done very quickly, where you can find other people that are using the application too. I wanted to make a challenge to my son the other day, and I forgot his username. So you got to have the username available for someone to use the application. That's something we haven't really installed yet, and that's what we're working on right now, is to get the username. The username's all available so everybody can see where they're at geographically on a map. So you can look at the map and see where all the other challenge application people are at. And so it's just like anything else. Like I'm on Uber or on Lyft. If I want to know where the drivers are, I just put in the map and they're all the drivers. That's what we're going to do with challenge. So yeah. So McLovin, the Irish R&B singer, when is the $100 party? I love it. My wife was just on the... I think she goes on some cruises where they play, I don't know if they play Irish music or they play blues music. She loves all that stuff. The $100 party is definitely in the future. As we all know, the date changes, and it's unknown to anyone, including myself, but it is coming, just like Christmas is coming, okay? It's coming. We know Christmas is on December 25th. We don't know the date this is coming, but it's coming. It's coming. I'm down in downtown San Diego. All right. I go to downtown San Diego probably once a month. We can lower from one end. Yeah. No, we're not lowering the party. We're going to keep it at $100 because I like it. Plus, it's starting to catch on. There's a lot of people like the $100 idea. 2022. I hope 2020 is a big year. Like someone wrote here earlier. God, I'm tired of 2019. I want 2019 to go away. I kind of thought maybe 2019 would end up better than it has been. It's probably one of the reasons why I kind of slacked off on my videos. I was hoping that we'd get a little bit of an uptrend towards 2019, but we didn't. I think the CPU problem really kind of hurt everything. Everybody just kind of got down and out about the CPU problem, so that just kind of kept us in the doldrums for a while. So that kind of hurt. I mean, maybe the price would have turned around. Something will break this market. You can only go on so long with everybody talking negative. One day, somebody's going to do something, say something, something's going to break and this market will shoot up 20, 30, 40% in a day. And then over the course of the next 6 months, it'll shoot up like it's done before, you know, 30, 40, 50% a month. And I've seen that happen, and it's going to happen again. It's inevitable to happen. We just have to be patient enough for that to go to happen. We just can't be, you know, not excited because, it feeds on itself. And when people are not feeling very well, or people are feeling like nothing's happened, it goes down, people can start getting excited, then it probably does a little bit better than it should do. But yeah, headed for better times, I guarantee you that. And you just have to fight through these times. And I've noticed since the times I've been watching, a lot of people have dropped off. You know, a lot of people that I saw that used to be really big into EOS have kind of gotten off of it. I've seen people sell out and get away from their stuff. So yeah, I mean, people are going to fall away. That's just inevitable. People are going to drop off, and that's just the way it is. Some people are going to stick, some people aren't going to stick. But hopefully, I can encourage some people to stay around because I think it's going to be good for everybody. And we're going to be around, I can tell you that. I'm not going anywhere. And Mastermind Rob Finch is gone. I wonder what that means. I like Rob Finch. I met him at the hackathon. And he was really nice to me. They just don't ever talk about the challenge application. I don't know. I like those guys over there. I like all the guys. I mean, everybody I talk to, it's funny because Rob Finch, I don't know where he's from, but I had a teacher in my college or my high school whose name was Mr. Finch. And I don't know I thought his first name was Rob Finch. So maybe Rob Finch has relatives from Nebraska, because I had a teacher, a principal actually on the school I went to school with was, his name was Rob Finch. So, okay, yeah, I like Rob Finch. He seems like a nice guy. Rob Finch left Cypherclass. Rob Finch is leaving Cypherclass, so I don't know. Don't know anything about it. I've listened to their video, their live feeds. I like it. I get a lot of good information from those guys. Like I say, the only criticism I have of the Cypherclass guys is they don't seem to be very fond of our project. Not that they're not very fond of it, but they just don't ever mention it. I mean, if they talk about, most people are this way. Very few people mention the challenge application. If they'll talk about 10 different applications, but they very rarely talk about challenge. Maybe they're right. Maybe challenge is one of the less interesting projects to them, and that's their opinion. They can say whatever they want to say. I respect them. I mean, they've been around for a long time. They were block producers. In fact, for a while, I think they were in the top 21. So, yeah, they're good guys. And like I said, I met Rob up at the hackathon. I think he has a brother. I met his brother. I met the other guy. I think his name's Zach Gall or something like that. I met him. He was a nice guy. I like those guys. I've spent many hours listening to Cypherglass's videos, and if he goes off to something else, I hope it's involved with blockchain, and I hope he's doing something that he wants to do. So, anyway, let's see what else is going on here. He suffered as a delegate with the list, and then lived through it all again as a block producer. Yeah, you're right. That's true. I remember him talking about yeah, that was a big issue for him. Sorry, just checking my messages. Sorry about that. Just had to answer that quick message. Yeah, so yeah, maybe he is. I don't know if it's what's going on with Rob Finch. Like I say, nice guy. Wax uses a system to monitor its block producers. Guide, they call them. It's a bit more centralized for that reason, but it's good reason. You know, I have thought. Let me see the next question too. What kind of business would directly benefit using your application? You know, that's a good question. What businesses would directly? Our business is a geolocation application. I think putting people on a map through the blockchain is going to be the biggest breakthrough of blockchain. So, in other words, being able to know where everybody's at on a decentralized platform is going to be incredibly valuable. Because in order for things to transact, you have to know where everybody's at. Obviously, if I'm selling a restaurant, if I have a restaurant in San Diego or Carlsbad, giving out free coupons in New Zealand isn't going to do me much good because I'm not going to be I'm not in New Zealand. I'm in San Diego. So having the two directly related to one another is a very good idea. We have thought about using the challenge application as actually a way for people to post items that they want to sell. So if you're in challenge and you're in New Zealand and you have a scooter that you want to sell, you could post it on the challenge. So yeah, our challenge application is will be infinitely used for things that we have not even ever thought of. And that this is the power of doing something on the blockchain. There's incredible amounts of things that can be used for. Right off the top of my head, I don't know everything. I mean, we thought about it as just being able to make a challenge for somebody to do some task that somebody would want them to do. But then somebody one time when I was doing a video said, "Hey, look, I wouldn't do that kind of challenge, but I'd certainly do a challenge where, I'd get one of my friends to see who could, drink more, just, I don't know what, do a bike ride and see which one could do it faster, make it farther, whatever. That would be something I would challenge somebody to. I'm not going to challenge someone to be home on time, or I'm not going to challenge somebody, to show up to work, but I might challenge my buddy to see if he could ride his bike faster, into the desert than I can. I don't know. So yeah, there's tens of thousands of ways to use this. Geolocation on the blockchain, like I say, is a great idea. We've talked to some, let me see, I think they even got their card here when we were up in San Francisco. There's one other company, I think it's called Platinum, they're doing geolocation on the blockchain. But their issue is, we're just using Google Maps. They were trying to make it very precise. So they were almost trying to reinvent the map. So their idea is maybe sometimes locations can be faked, which isn't an issue for us because, we're not doing like multi-million-dollar transfers where everything has to be super precise. But they were like in maybe thinking that they could use the blockchain to transfer money to people or things to people in a way that, there would be large amounts of money involved. So they were trying to make it very precise. So yeah, outside of us and them, I don't know who else is using it that way. So I might create a business around your app. See, thank you. Anybody can create it. And see, it's an open source there. Oh, Brock Pierce. Brock Pierce said in a recent interview that the killer application for him on EOS is EOS being used as currency. I think $10 plus EOS will get people thinking like that, more using it for payments. Yeah, Brock Pierce is a smart guy. I met Brock Pierce. I met him up, and I guess he's another one in Puerto Rico. I met him up at the hackathon. One of the background people that you don't realize how big he is, unless you really get into blockchain. A lot of times you just like he is with Block One. When you think of Block One, you don't think of Brock Pierce. But if you knew the truth of the story, Brock Pierce is probably one of the initial people that got the thing going. He was probably most likely the person that put Dan and Brandon Bloomer together. I'm not 100% sure on that, but could be. So yeah, he's a very prominent figure in it, and I always had a lot of respect for Brock Pierce. Like to see him get back more into it. Location ads. Yeah, there you go. Location ads. I may create a business. Yeah. Potential dollars first to the market. Yeah. We don't know. And, that's why when I hear a girls' school in Africa that is thinking about using challenges to promote their school so that, and maybe I could find that article. Let me see if I can find that article. I'll go to Steam it, see if I can find it. When somebody's coming up with these kinds of these ideas, we're blown away because of the different ideas people are coming up with to use the challenge application. And this is where it's at. This is what's going to make challenge or the blockchain valuable. Is the idea is that people build on this application on this blockchain. That's where we're lacking right now. Instead of the governance and everybody wanting to be block producer and worried about how rewards are being sent out, people need to be more concerned about what's getting built, and making sure people use it, because we can all argue about how it operates, but if nobody's using it, nobody's operating on it, then I guess it's all a mute point because nobody uses it. I need to bookmark that, or that when we're the girls. Kind of reminds me of a story, and I got lots of stories, and since we're doing live stream, I got time to tell a story. I was involved with a company one time, a startup in the early 2000s, called Red Tag Crazy. They actually had what they call ODAD, one deal at a time, where they would sell one deal, and then 20 seconds later, another deal would come up, and another deal come up, and another deal come up. And the two guys involved with it were really smart guys. One guy was a brilliant programmer. The other guy was a very good graphic artist, and they were killing it. And they were doing very well. I saw their sales go from a few $1,000s a month to over $100,000 a month in 1 month. And I was kind of working with them a little bit, and I was all excited. And the two partners started arguing about their stake in the company. One partner had, I think, 60%, and the other guy had 40%. Or maybe it was a different stake. I can't even remember. But they got to arguing about the stake that they had in their company. And I'm I've been around long enough to know that most things don't work out anyway. So I'm thinking to myself, boy, you guys are really premature here. You're starting to fight over something that it's like Warren Buffett says, two in a bush is worth less than one in the hand. One in the hand, two in a bush, whatever Warren Buffett says about that. You're arguing about the two in the bush. You better start worrying about the one in the hand. Well, sure enough, these guys, they argue and they get to the point where they don't get along so well. And a year later, the company's just completely lost everything, including the investors' monies and everything. Mainly because these guys just couldn't get together on how much stake they had in each other, how they were to split up the company. Because they're thinking they're going to be the next Microsoft or the next is Facebook. And so all they can think about is the money. They end up literally killing the company. So, yeah, you got to be careful about those kind of things. Okay, Roger Ver interviewed Brock Pierce recently. Ver asked Pierce what EOS is because he had no clue about it. This is someone who has been in crypto longer than anyone. EOS excites me. Very interesting. You told us before, what is your professional background? Ooh, that's a good one. What is my professional background? I'm going to go into that because it's pretty ugly. Let's see if okay, my professional background. I would have to say that my number one thing that I've done over the past 20 years is a web developer. Prior to being a web developer, I was a stockbroker. I did go to law school, but I never practiced law. I went to college, but I never did any of that either. So I would say my number one thing has been a developer, mainly a WordPress developer. Got pretty decent with PHP, and of course the front-end languages, CSS, JavaScript, and some of those things, all within the context of the framework of the content management system WordPress. Built a lot of websites. Done a lot of attorney websites, mainly because I'd gone to law school. Was able to speak pretty easily to attorneys. Like I say, spent a few years being a stockbroker. In the 80s, I was mainly a stockbroker. I also farmed for a number of years, but I'd say most of my life have been a developer, developer of WordPress websites. I would say that would be pretty much my thing. Like I said, I've never been very much of a techie person, but I always liked tech, even though it wasn't my strong point. So, and then when I found blockchain, of course, my blockchain was found by me, by my son, not by me. I didn't go out figure out blockchain. Was figured out. My son figured it out, and I just kind of followed him along with it. So, let me see what else questions I got. Cool. Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I would say WordPress developer would be one of my main features of things I can do, even though I'm not, and I love WordPress. If anybody understands web development, you got to know WordPress. I fell in love with WordPress just like I fell in love with the blockchain. It just was such an easy way to build a website. Had so many features and bells and whistles and so many things you can do. And of course, I got into the all the SEO thing, and that was a very competitive thing. You build a website, and the next thing you know, how to get the thing ranked, and all the different tools and things like that you learn. So yeah, I've done that for almost 20 years. Web developer, WordPress, all that other stuff. Okay, very good question. And I've seen you quite a bit before, Brian, and I appreciate all your comments and all the times you've been on my website and all the things when you've left comments. Is Challenge going to have staking? No, we will not have staking. In our opinion, I don't believe in staking, but I think staking's a good idea. But we don't need it, and I don't want to do staking. Staking's a great idea to tie up tokens. So if you want to tie up tokens so that they're not traded, just have people stake them, which means you're going to you're going to tighten the market. You're going to decrease the float. So that's why people stake. And I think EOS does that very well. Some other tokens do that very well. They tie up tokens, and they stake the tokens to make them tied up. But we're not going to do that with Challenge. We'll keep all the tokens free flowing. We're not worried about them hitting the market or coming, because the thing with Challenge is we released to 167,000 accounts. You can look and see who owns a lot of Challenge tokens. Not very many people own very many Challenge tokens. Block One owns a lot of Challenge tokens because we didn't cut Block One out when we did the airdrop. We own a lot of Challenge tokens, but outside of Block One and us, I know very many people own a lot of Challenge tokens. I'm not worried about making people stake their tokens because we don't have that many tokens. So we're not worried about it. Most of the tokens are held in very small hands. In fact, most of the tokens are still on mainnet, yet to be claimed. Because when just like what we do with the CPU, with the Challenge application, we pay for the RAM. Pay for the CPU and the RAM. We paid for the RAM when we did the airdrop, and most of the people, when we paid for the RAM, even though they had a ERC20 account, ERC20 token, when they switched it over to EOS, they never bothered to claim their token. They never bothered to claim the airdrop. And so it just sits there, and we continue to pay the RAM. So that's it. Their show is boring without Rob Finch. I wonder why Rob Finch left. Does anybody tell me why Rob Finch left CipherClass? This is the first time I've heard this. Give me a specific reason. Did he just leave, or how does anybody know he left? I know the last time I watched one of their I think they call it EOS. What do they call it? What is the name of their channel? Here, let's just go there and find out. YouTube. EOS. I do this all the time. I just go to YouTube and just put EOS in to see what's going on. I see Max Dapp quite a bit. Max Dapp has talked about a Challenge application. He's a good guy. There's my good friend Dallas. There I am. There's our good friend Brock Pickers. My good friend Colin. Yeah, when I go through this, I see all my good buddies. I don't even see, where are they? What happened to Mr. Finch? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. So what happened? Does anybody know what happened to Finch? He tweeted out he left. He did not say what he's moving on to. So he's leaving all of blockchain, or is he just leaving EOS? Very interesting. I don't know. The first time I've heard about it. Maybe that's a good reason why I'm doing this live stream right now, is I'm learning about things I didn't know about. Okay, how do you plan to profit from the that is a good question. How do you plan to profit from the application? That is a very good question. And it's hard to say these names. Sumas Research, Sumas Research. The way you're going to profit from this, or the way hopefully we profit from, is by users. The more users that use this, the more valuable your application becomes. The more valuable your application becomes, the better your crypto is going to trade in the decentralized exchanges. That's one way you can profit. The second way you can profit is you may be able to charge people a slight fee for using it, like maybe charging a very, very small amount of money for each time anybody does a challenge. And then the third way you may be able to do it by selling advertising on the application, or like, by people advertising or doing something or using the application for some other purposes. So there's a number of ways for that to happen. But unlike my friends who argued about the piece of the pie before it was even baked, you can't start worried about how you're going to make money on this before you know. We don't know. We're in uncharted territory. We don't know how we're going to make money, or if we'll ever make money. We just don't know. I mean, that's one of the gut wrenches about being in this space. Maybe that's why a guy like Rob Finch leaves, because it's tough. Right now nobody's making any money outside of a few exchanges that are making 21 are in the top 21 block producers. I don't believe many other people are making money in blockchain. You have to hang on, you have to do something, but that's the way it always is. If the times are good and people are making bunches of money, then the competition is through the roof. If you're sitting there and nobody's making any money and you're trying to build something hoping for a future payday, that's a tough way to live, because you got to make your bills. Your bills have got to be paid, and you got to devote a lot of time in it, and not a lot of people can afford to do that. And everybody hurts. I mean, we hurt. I mean, when we did that airdrop, we hurt. And we had to spend, all that money because we had a lot of cryptos built up over the years, and we had to take it all and dump it into an airdrop. That hurt. I wonder what's going on with Raman, my good buddy Raman. I see he's here. Maybe is Raman going back with these guys? Is Raman going to be on the live pod? Because I've seen him on there too with Rob Finch and with Zach Gull. So maybe he's going to go on back with them. I don't know. Okay, let's read some more comments. Any thoughts on Dallas moving Karma to Wax? Okay, let me tell you about Dallas. I've known Dallas a long time. Dallas is a smart guy. Dallas is intuitive. Dallas is, in my mind, one of the brilliant marketers of blockchain. You've got two kinds of people in blockchain. You got the technical guys, and then you got the guys that are the people that build the foundations. They're the guys that are the programmers. They're the guys that can sit down and make an application, program it, C++, whatever developers. And then you got the guys like Dallas, and these are the guys that are the idea guys. And Dallas is a brilliant idea guy. He's a very, very smart, shrewd businessman. He understands business, and he knows how to get people to do things. He motivates people, and he's a great guy. I love Dallas. Why he's moving EOS? I understand why he's moving off of EOS. The reason he's moving off of EOS is because he has a lot of users that haven't acquired a lot of EOS. So those users aren't able to, and one of his things is hey, do a good deed, make a post, and get paid for it. And if you can't make the post, then you're not going to use the application. This happened to me with DTube. Once upon a time, I was making DTube. Later I found out that Ned, which is one of the partners of Dan that helped create DTube, kept posting all my videos. So every time I did a video, it'd give me like $20 for a video. And that's back in the days before I even made any money for my YouTube videos. My YouTube videos I don't even know if I had my channel monetized at that time. So they were doing terrible, and so I get like $20 a DTube video, and I was excited. Later I found it was Ned that one was giving them to me. But anyway, so I quit doing DTube because it took so long to upload the video because it was always busy. So I would sit there and hit, the upload, and it would, think, hit the upload, it would think, hit the upload, it would think. And I got tired, and I just said, YouTube is automatic. I shoot it on my cell phone, I hit upload, and 5 minutes later I'm giving it a title and making it live. D2, I'm sitting there for 20, 30, maybe half a day sometimes trying to get it to upload. So I just left, even though I was getting great monetization on D2. I wasn't getting any monetization on YouTube, but it was just the easy use. So I just had to leave. And see, with Dallas, his users cannot have a bad experience. They can't have a waiting around to use the network because it's being clogged up with CPU. And, so they have to. So he's got a choice. He's either got to come up with something like we're doing. We're paying for all the resources, or he's got to go to another blockchain. He's decided to go to another blockchain. And knowing Dallas, if he went to Wax, that was probably a good idea because he's somebody that checks all that stuff out. And Dallas knows a lot of people, and he asks a lot of questions, and he always asks good questions. And if he makes a move like that, I would certainly think that it was in the best benefit of him and his application and everybody involved with Karma. If Dallas made the move, I would say it was a very good move. So, would you consider running the challenged app on Wax? We have not even considered that. And you said you spent $200,000 for CPU. We spent $200,000 for RAM. I don't think it was quite $200,000. Between $150,000 and $200,000 we spent on the RAM to launch the airdrop because at that time the RAM had gone so expensive. It wasn't CPU, it was RAM. Is it expensive creating the application? Yes. I don't even want to think about how much money we've spent on the challenge application. Those are numbers you don't want to ever think about it. I know we've spent a lot of money. A lot of our time and effort and a lot of money. So yes, we have put a lot of money into the challenge application. A lot of money. I don't even want to think about it. But yeah, it's been very, very expensive. This stuff just doesn't happen on its own. Okay, besides, got any other questions? Not dealing with Rob Finch and Dallas leaving to go someplace else? Okay, man. Thanks. Appreciate you showing up. Like I said, this has been going on for a while, and I'm not even warmed up yet. So, and this is a good way for me to get to talk to people. Kent, are you doing any blockchain programming with Challenge app? Blockchain programming. Oh yeah. No, yeah. I look at stuff. In fact, we had a problem one time. What was it that we had a problem with? We had to fix. Oh, there was something with the graphics. Oh man, then we had some graphic thing that was just bothering me to no end. I said, man, we got to fix this thing. It was ugly as could be. So nobody would fix it, and I had to finally go in there and figure it out and fix it. So yeah, I do a little bit of programming. But the programming I do is usually, I don't do the C++ stuff. I don't look at it in the smart contracts. I can do some of the application programming. Some of the stuff that we do for the application because I can do front end programming. So yeah, we had to fix some graphic stuff and nobody else could fix it. Nobody wanted to take the time to fix it. So yeah, I went in and patched up some stuff. But I'm not a C++ developer, never have, probably never will. Looked at C++ a few times to try to figure it out, and I don't even want to go there. I understand why they're using C++. It's a very fast language. Close to the compiler, but it's not for me. I enjoy probably one of the my favorite languages to mess around with is just I like JavaScript, browser based language. I enjoy because anything if you know how to go into like WordPress and mess with WordPress. That's the kind of stuff I do. So what I did for a long time. I'm a WordPress developer. I would say more so than just being a developer or programmer of any kind of languages. I would just say I would be a WordPress developer. And like I say, a WordPress runs, I don't know, 40-50% of the websites on the internet, maybe more. I used to know those numbers, but since I've been involved the last year or so with Challenge, I haven't really been doing much WordPress. I was around in WordPress way in the very beginning when it was just starting up, just like EOS, like 2000. I don't really want to tell you when it was because I can't remember. And anytime I say something like that, people say, "Oh, you forgot, that was you," or tell me that was wrong. So, yeah, I can't remember the exact date, but I was wrong with WordPress way at the very, very beginning. Okay, Kent, are you doing any okay? When did you get into crypto and how? Okay, how we got into crypto? When did we get into crypto? I think it was around 2015. Actually, 2014, 2015. And maybe it's 2000. Yeah, it had to be 2014 because my son was going to Arizona State University. And of course, I've always showed people my son. Let's just show you because I'm proud of him and he's great. He was a great college athlete. He's been a cancer survivor. And he's just done so much. He's just such a smart kid. He's a two-time cancer survivor, actually. Here he is when he had chemotherapy. He's a wrestler. Here he is when he was runner-up at the Pac-12. So this son, who was the wrestler for Arizona State University, in 2014 was going to Arizona State wrestling for the team, got into blockchain. Started asking me what I thought about blockchain, and I had no clue what he was talking about. I thought he was talking about, for all I knew, he was talking about gibberish. I had no idea what he was talking about blockchain. But he kept saying blockchain's going to be technologically the thing in the future. It's going to, it's going to do all this great stuff. It's going to be blah 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 blah. And I blew him off for about 2 years. And while he was going to school, I think he graduated in 2015. But I just didn't really pay too much attention to it because I didn't understand it and I didn't want to learn it. I had enough stuff in my brain. I thought I'm getting old enough. I don't need to hear any more about, ASU. Hey, ASU beat Penn State the other day. Yeah, he was my son was a 3-time starter for him at heavyweight. And now ASU is kicking some tail. Zig Jones, not that I thought he was the greatest coach in the world because he kind of screwed Chase over a little bit, but Zig Jones used to be U.S. World Olympic coach for the United States. Has really got ASU back in the groove. Kind of fell out of there for a while. So, but anyway, they actually tried to do Bitcoin mining from ASU campus. So my son, who was working in the computer department at Arizona State University, are trying to figure out how to use ASU's computer power to mine Bitcoin. And, so they're talking to people and they're trying to get, figure out quite how to use all this, mega power ASU has to do mining Bitcoin. Well, they couldn't figure it out. And of course, eventually they were told that that's not a very good idea. And that if you're going to do something like that, you might lose all your privileges in the computer department. So anyway, he kind of got away from that idea. So then he did a paper. In fact, in 2014, 2015, when he did his master's degree, he actually gave a talk. We're trying to find it. We're hoping one of his university professors kept it on blockchain and blockchain future. And that was about 2015. And then in 2016, he started buying Bitcoin and bought Ethereum, bought all these different things. And I saw that he made a little bit of money with it. And I was, of course, I'd seen things go up and go down pretty quickly myself. So I told him, I said, hey, why don't, when I saw that he had built a fairly good, amount of money for what he'd put in, I said, why don't you sell it? And he wouldn't sell it. He just kept saying, no, I think it's going to do better. And I said, no, you need to sell it. So we went through quite an argument about whether he should sell it or not. But he didn't sell it. And thankfully he didn't because he made a really good amount of money in a very short period of time. And of course, when I saw that, I got hooked. The people that are in this right now, maybe the people that saw those boom days and they still believe in them, so they stayed involved. The people that bought in during the boom days or after the boom days are probably leaving because they've never seen big things happen. I've seen big things happen. I saw big things happen with my son. I saw a little bit of money turn into a lot of money, not just, like Lambo money in a very short period of time. So I saw that. We're going to need those days again to bring some people back because when people see that, they won't forget and they'll come back and they'll stay in for the duration. But yeah, that's how we got involved. I tried to get him to sell. He didn't sell. But then about that time he hit. This was about 2 years ago. It was right around my daughter's birthday in September, was 2017, is when he bought EOS. And it was 51 cents, 50 or 51 cents. And he had put money in EOS. And I didn't even know what EOS was. He was telling me Dan Larimer's going to be the next big guy in blockchain, and he's on. And I didn't know. He kept telling me about all these people, and I didn't know who he was talking about. He was talking about Dan Larimer. He was talking about Vitalik Buterin. He was talking about Satoshi Sakamoto, and I didn't know who any of these people were. It's like, what? What are you talking about? Satoshi who? Bitcoin? And I got hooked. Went down the rabbit hole. Spent about 2 weeks every day on the treadmill, watching YouTube videos, and just started digging into it. And of course, the further I went, the deeper I got, the more I liked it. And of course, then about that time, we were starting to see some success too. That's before the market had died, and the success was still pretty good. So lots of people were buying, lots of people were selling. We were seeing Ethereum go up. So yeah, I just stayed with it and been there ever since. So, yep, ASU, Arizona State University, is a very top wrestling school. We used to see a lot of the MMA guys there. In fact, my son fights a little MMA still today. He's a really good athlete. Both of my sons are really good athletes. My second son's a two-time state champion in California. If you know anything about that, that's a huge accomplishment to be a two-time state champion in California. And then also my other son was a second runner-up in Pac-12 and was Arizona State University heavyweight starter for 3 years. So, and had a sixth year, but unfortunately ASU recruited a new guy, and that's kind of when there was so anyway, I won't go into all that. But anyway, when people are greedy, be fearful. When people are fearful, be greedy. Yeah, very good, Warren Buffett. In fact, I got a picture of Warren Buffett. Let me see if I can even show you. Got a picture of Warren Buffett's house. I'll show it to you. I was just in Omaha a few days ago. Of course, we got to drive next to and I went to school just a few blocks from this house. And so we went to drive by. I just want to get a picture of it for my video. And here it is. If I can get it on the right things. This is Warren Buffett's house. I don't know if you can see that or not. Of course, you can look at it on the interview and I don't even know if that's going to show up or not. But that's Warren Buffett's house. It doesn't even look like much. If you saw it from the street, you would go, oh yeah, that's okay. But you wouldn't think one of the richest men on the face of the earth was living there. It's nothing that extravagant. But good old Mr. Buffett, he's been quite the mastermind. Why Warren Buffett has lived well and made billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. A lot of people have struggled to make ends meet. And some of the reason why people have struggled to make ends meet, in my opinion, is because a guy like Buffett's a guy that takes too big a piece of the pie. So when he owns a company like Geico and he squeezes every penny out of it for himself and for his shareholders, he robs, I wouldn't say robs, that's a strong word, but he definitely takes his fair share from those poor people that are trying to get insurance settlements, that are just trying to get back to where they were before they got losses. So yeah, good old boy, backslapping folks saying Warren Buffett, certainly has taken his big piece of the pie with his idea of using premiums to buy stocks. And of course, he's been a very good investor, shrewd investor. That's why he's made so much money. But yeah, this is one of the things I think that has hurt the common everyday person, because Warren Buffett's the kind of person that tries to he tries to get everything out of everything, every penny out of everything. He tries to manage things down to the very, very bare minimum. Believe me, if Warren Buffett could save a nickel, he'll save a nickel. If he can cut a job, he'll cut a job. If he can cut out a layer of employees to make it, for his company to make a little bit more money, he'll do it. I don't think Warren Buffett's been the kind of guy that says, we'll try to build so that the future people have better pensions or more money, or we'll try to give back to the employees. And I never think that's been the guy's Warren Buffett's intent. Warren Buffett is about making money. Obviously so, with the amount of money that he's made. And this is what I'm saying about it. This is why I started the live stream a long time ago, talking about this is why we need blockchain. If we had a way of taking people's money and putting it in a secure place where everybody trusted it, and having that money being put out to people that had losses, and not have it go through an insurance company's hands that legislates and has powerful attorneys and is able to negotiate and get people in a position where they have to, maybe they can't afford their medical expenses, maybe they can't afford to hang on, or can't afford to even go to trial or courts to get their money back on something like that. They get a bad deal, they get a bad settlement, they get a bad payout, because insurance companies are in charge. They control the kitty. They write the checks. So hopefully something like smart contracts and blockchain can help do away with that. So I believe I've got 6 people watching. I had like 12 people watching a little bit ago, so it looks like people are starting to fall off. I have been talking for 80 minutes now, and I feel like I've been talking about 5. So I'm afraid if I keep on talking, I might really be talking to myself. So I'm going to think about ending the stream here. If anybody has anything else they want to talk to me about, put it up now, and I'm going to read it, and we're going to talk about it. Last thing I see here is by Summits Research, and it's Warren Buffett. Haha, funny, thanks, Kent. Okay. Anything else? Because if you don't have anything else to talk about, if I can figure out how to end this stream, I will be ending the stream. And I'll do like I usually do, which is end the stream and then keep on talking, and the stream keeps going. So one of the things I got to tell you, it's kind of funny about this. I'm using Ecamm. And if you use Ecamm, you've got to remember that you start to stream on Ecamm, and then you also got to start it on YouTube. And you got to do it. You got to do it together. Because if you do one and not the other one, you're not going live. Or if you, and I can't remember exactly how I finally got to kind of jive. But if you use one, I'd recommend Ecamm if you're using a Mac. I thought it was fairly easy to set up. But just remember, when you set it, you got to get both of them going. You can't get just one going the other. Because I did 2 or 3 of these before, and I had one going but didn't have the other one going, so it was kind of a nightmare. But yeah, if you want to do this, I think it's a lot of fun. I'll be doing a lot more. And also, hey, if you want to join me, I'll just plug you into this stream, and we'll do like Rob Finch and those guys did. We'll just sit there and yak back and forth about EOS and talk about it. If somebody wants to come on here, just let me know. I'd be happy to invite somebody else on here, let them chat and talk about this stuff too, because, hey, why not? The only way we all learn is we all decide to interact together, and we got the greatest platform in the history of the world with the internet, and now with live stream video, chat, talk to people around the world. Can't be any better than that. So if that's the last question, and I like the last question, is haha, funny, thanks, Kit. I think that's a good one to end on. I believe I will end this chat. I will end this stream, and maybe I'll do another one tomorrow night. We'll see how it goes. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.